Welcome back to the show where we talk about all things sales and fitness. I've got a good podcast lined up today. It is a solo podcast, so it is just going to be me. But I want to start with something very simple. Nobody gets great from the sidelines. In fitness, you don't build muscle watching. You don't build confidence thinking about it, right? You don't build thick skin not being in the game, right? It's crazy how many times we walk around like we're entitled to win just because we kind of want it. As I'm getting older, I realize everybody kind of wants it. They kind of want it. Sometimes I kind of want it. But that just leads to working hard until it gets inconvenient or not pushing through what someone that's all in would push through. It takes being all in. It takes, the effort to be obsessed. And in sales and in fitness, you'll get ran over by the people that are obsessed if you're not. It's not going to work being half in or thinking it would be nice to be successful in fitness, or being successful with your body, or being successful with finances. It's not enough to just think it would be nice, right? As I've gone through this in sales and in fitness, the more I realize you got to have thick skin, right? And I feel like this has come from just the reps, getting rejected over and over again, or being told you're not good enough over and over again, and realizing that the rejection, the embarrassment, the failure, the criticism, the self-doubt that just keeps coming back to your head every single day. Pain is building thicker skin, right? It's building that next version of yourself that you have to become to get to the goal that you want, or say that you want. I'm starting to realize that if you feel friction, that's a good thing, because you're probably in the game. If you don't feel the friction, if you don't feel like, you're probably on the sidelines. And I read a quote the other day from James Clear online that said, the loser has more in common with the winner than the people on the sidelines. That is going to stick with me for the rest of my life, right? And I'll say it again. The loser has way more in common with the winner than the people on the sidelines. Now, one of the things that's really helped me build thicker skin, and I'm not saying I'm perfect by any means, but I've gone a long way from where I was, right? Where I was sometimes, I didn't have that thick skin. I didn't have that ability to push through my goals until I got them, until I made sure that I became that version of myself that got the things that I wanted. And one of the biggest things that's helped me, and I wrote this down, your intention. What is your intention? If you go into a sales call, if you go into the gym with an intention to serve, to grow, to lead, to provide, if you're a father and you're wondering what the intention should be with your kids, with your wife, when you have that intention, criticism doesn't break you down. You can handle being corrected. You're okay if things don't go your way, because you know that your intention deep down in your heart is in the right place. And when you have that alignment, it brings confidence. It brings confidence to you. It brings confidence that it's okay if you mess up. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to say everything right, because you're going in with the right intention, and you're able to correct that if needed. It's helped me a ton. On my sales calls. There's times you got to call people out. There's times when you can't let people sit in their excuses. Just like yourself, you have to call yourself out, right? That's why sales is a self-actualizing game. I've realized you're trying to sell yourself to do the things that you need to do so that you can get to a sales call and sell the product to whatever customer you're talking to. That is the real game. The real game is that you're not sold on yourself, so therefore you cannot provide the value to the people on your sales calls. Yeah, a couple other points that I wrote down here for this podcast, right? The more I think about life, the more I realize that we're all competing against people. When you get to this level that you're trying to get to great or elite in anything that you do, you're competing against people that are obsessed with every detail, obsessed with every call, with every execution point. And if you don't raise to that level, that standard of excellence, you'll just continue to not make it to where you want to be. And that is a frustrating game to play. I've realized that there's those details, there's those things that you have to level up. I've been trying to level up my sales game recently, and it's interesting how the little details that you skip over thinking they're not important come back to bite you. And if you don't fix them, they'll just continue to reoccur and reoccur and reoccur. That's why winning is so rare, because obsession is very rare. It takes everything you have. I remember when I lost 60 pounds and got six-pack shredded, I was probably around 6 to 8% body fat, right? Maybe a little bit too lean at one point, but you have to go to the extremes to know what it takes to win in your body, in my opinion. And I think it's the same way with sales and overcoming certain things and going to that next level financially. But that's why I do these podcasts, to get my thoughts out and to make sure that I'm willing to do what I say, right? If I'm willing to get on this podcast and say these things, this next week I have to go out and live these things so that I can be that 2.0 version, right? That we're all we all have a different version that we're striving for. I'm not saying everybody has the same goals or whatnot, but everybody that's listening to this knows their goals, what they're trying to do, what they want to level up. And best thing that I can say is be obsessed with it. Be obsessed with it. Do everything. Mentor somebody and do everything that they tell you to do so that you can replicate those results for yourself. My favorite quote is in the background here, Man in the Arena. I don't know if you can see it on your end, but it's not the critic who counts. It's not the one. It's the one actually in the fight. If you're listening to this, are you in the arena, or are you in the comment sections of life? Nobody did great from the sidelines. You grow in the game, getting beat up, making the sales call when you don't feel ready, posting when you're not ready. Nobody's ready. But the only people that become ready failed enough to be ready. It's an oxymoron. It's like, if you want to get in shape, you have to do the things necessary to get in shape before you get in shape. You don't see the results until later. It's usually I live by the 90-day rule. Your life will be what you've been doing the last 90 days, right? So 90 days from now, how you've been showing up, how you've been attacking, the day, every day, will start to show up 90 days from now. That is the lag time. And at least that's what I believe, at least close to that. And I want to know I gave everything, because if you give everything, you don't need validation, you don't need applause, you don't need permission, because you've gotten that from yourself, because you gave it all. You either starve for it or you see someone else get what you want, right? Let's all get in the arena this week. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. This was a quick podcast. Had to get it out. Had to give you some of the thoughts that I had. And, it's as blunt as this. Thick skin is going to come from just being in the game and failing and failing and failing, and just, when I say failing, I mean just learning and learning and learning and growing and growing and growing until you break through eventually. But you got to be obsessed to be with those people that you want to be with. You got to be obsessed to be with the 1%ers, because those people are. Those people are. Name me someone that's super successful in anything, and they're typically obsessed. They're typically doing things in extreme manners, because doing things in normal manners will keep you normal. That's all I got. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Till next time.